topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm very glad to see you here again, and very excited to have my guest, Eddie Tlurner. Eddie is ranked number 14 globally in 6 consecutive years as a global guru in coaching. He really specifically works with emerging talent, and he's able to identify people and help them develop for their next level. Eddie's a graduate of some Harvard programs, and he's internationally recognized as a leader in the field of leadership and organizational change. So welcome, Eddie. I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Well, Linda, thank you for having me. And you forgot to mention the most important thing is that I am the #1 fan club holder of Linda Sharkey.
Oh, well, I probably only have one fan club person in there, all total. Well, that's good. That's good. So, Eddie, tell me a little bit. Let's the audience hear a little bit about, how'd you get into this? What's your feel? We both worked at GE too, actually, which is interesting.
Indeed.
Way back.
We worked as we affectionately called it, the general, and we both had the meatball on our forehead, right? That's what we said in exactly GE parlance.
That's
now, it's been quite some time. I did not know you there. I met you as an esteemed member of the Marshall Goldsmith 100 Coaches family, and I'll never forget that day you walked in and you instantly took over the room. You had us all laughing and howling in laughter, and we've been friends ever since.
Yep, and that was in San Diego, and you're not going to say what I said.
No, I'm not going to say what you said.
Good, I'm glad. But it was funny. Everybody did laugh. I think I forgot her name, but she was probably sorry she called on me.
Oh no, she wasn't. Edie, love Edie, who put together the pre-event for the annual meeting. Yes. No. You definitely. If we were not already in gear, you certainly took us there.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me the evolution of your career. How did you get to this wonderful spot where you are?
Well, you talked about the life at GE. I had changed jobs every year as a information technology professional. I did not have a degree. And in those early days of the 90s, think about that. Yeah. You didn't need a degree if you were in information technology. Right. And then when I landed at GE, I'll never forget when the recruiters called me and they said, "We'd love for you to take this job at GE." And I thought in my head, I was working with some really premier organizations. And I thought GE, refrigerators and light bulbs. Right. Now, there's anything wrong with that? But I'm just like, okay, well, so I went on the interview. It still took about 3 or 4 years before I realized I had landed at GE Capital, the financial engine of the entire organization. Right. And
the big kahuna.
Yes. Accounted for 40% of the revenues and really set the standard for the globe. And of course, as you know, GE Crotonville, where you get educated in the GE way, and the best in leadership. And so I often say I saw the best lead the best. Yeah. But I was an information technology professional. The transition for me came, or as you say so beautifully here, I discovered the next powerful chapter of my life when they said, "We can't use you any further without a degree." And so that sent me to get a degree. I did not understand the value of selecting an institution. And so I had a gentleman who took me under his wing and he said, "Hey, living in Chicago, you need to really go to Northwestern University of Chicago if you're going to be able to compete with the type of folks we have working here." Right. That landed me at Northwestern, and that
great school.
Yes, ma'am. It is. I am a proud wildcat, as we say, and it literally changed my life. Yeah, I got the great education that he said I would, But in making that decision, once he told me he was happy with my decision because he didn't like the first ones I told him. He said, you're going to get a great education, but you're paying for the network. And that network really has really been the most transformational component, right? Yes, I got that education. Yes, it gave me a different mindset and way of thinking and truly a way of living. But the network, including one of the gentlemen who came and talked to our class that evening in 2006.
Yeah. Who was it? Do you remember?
Bob Dean. I remember because he and I are still friends 20 years later.
Wow.
He said, you're not a normal IT person. You've got a personality. So he took me under his wing. And
that's kind of insulting, actually, right?
Well, in some ways, but in other ways, I fully understand now what he was saying.
Right.
And so Bob, he took me under his wing. He taught me the business of learning and talent development because at that time he was the vice president of global learning and talent development for the number one executive search firm in the world.
Heidrick and Struggles, right?
Yes. So that took me out of this world of information technology. I still have a couple more years before I really hit my stride. Actually, 5 more years. But it led me to doing the work I do now as a leadership advisor. And that led me both the early experiences at GE combined with my studies at Northwestern University, where I focused on leadership and organizational behavior, to understanding this process that it takes to emerge as a leader when you're not already a leader. And then I created a point of view on, well, what about those who are already senior leaders in an organization? We use the word emerging for one portion of leaders, those who HR calls hypos, high potentials,
right, the high potentials
early on.
Right.
But really, the work of leadership is ongoing. And so even those who are senior leaders need to continue to emerge, to come into view, to be recognized as a leader and not rest on past accomplishments. And certainly, if we don't believe that we have to continue to emerge, this world of AI is teaching us that. We have to learn new skills. We have to come into view and prove ourselves as leaders all over again.
How do you see AI impacting all of this? It's fascinating, really.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. It might be said that, number one, is especially as a former IT professional, Moore's Law was what our entire industry, our profession revolved around. And that was this concept that Robert Moore codified, that technology, chips and processing double in speed every 6 months.
Yeah.
So, of course, you had to keep up, constantly recertifying yourself, learning new skills, and staying abreast of the latest and greatest in technology, which was changing ever rapidly. If you spent 6 months outside of the industry, as I ended up doing after studying leadership and organizational behavior, then you were almost like a dinosaur. Well, AI is increasing exponentially faster than what we've seen in IT. So the impact is, as leaders, it's no longer enough to rest on the institution that we went to, right?
Right.
It used to be our bona fides, it might be said, could be traced to our pedigree because of the university we attended, the corporations we've worked for, past job experience. Well, now AI has said we don't need people, we can give you information really fast. You need information.
It does.
Yes. You need tasks completed.
Right.
One of the number one firms in the world, number one consulting firms in the world, there are AI algorithms right now that basically do what that firm does for no cost.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That $5,000 an hour consulting fee is gone because of AI. So it's disintermediating entire industries, entire professions.
Right. But new professions are going to come in behind it.
Well, that's an interesting point. Yeah. Historically, that's been very true. And when technology was introduced, while it eliminated much of the manual work that we did, and now you have this new automation. And of course, there's always fear. Well, my job's going to be eliminated. Well, no, here's a new job you can do. With AI, this is a little different.
Yeah.
So what will those jobs in the future be? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
What we do know is the entry-level work in legal, for example. Wow. That's being documented. and retrieved much faster by AI than any human could ever do.
That's
Things
true.
that you went to a high-priced attorney for, well, AI can do a lot of that, including reviewing contracts.
Right.
So, what do those new roles look like? We don't know that precisely just yet, although it seems like every other week there's a new university coming out with a degree in AI, both
Yeah.
at the
Right.
bachelor's and master's level.
Right.
What appears to be very clear is agility. How fast can you and I, as learners, adapt to these new technologies? How fast can we make assimilations that the bot can't do?
Interesting. Interesting. So how are you using AI, Eddie? And I want to go back and ask you about how you had the Harvard experience too, before we get off that. But how are you using AI?
I challenge myself to do something new with AI every day. And that means everything from mundane activities that I like anyone else, like any great corporation that I may have paid others to do in the past. I now employ AI to do those tasks for me. Simple things or simple tasks that I do even as an executive coach, as I do as I have a very strong point of view when it comes obviously to writing and authorship. I really believe that still needs to be my voice, my point of view. But certainly to have AI, for example, run the analysis and make sure that I got everything correct is very helpful. So being a proofreader, if you will, is probably a better way of phrasing that. Not an author, but a proofreader, right? And certainly when it comes to research, when it comes to client analysis, research, developing products, developing a support system, even for the day or for a particular client set, it is invaluable, as everyone is discovering, both at a corporate level and at an individual entrepreneurship level.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. So along your journey, you end up at Harvard. So tell me about that. How'd that happen? What was the experience like? What'd you gain from it?
There's not many things I say are transformational. So you've heard me say that with regard to Northwestern. You've heard me
Yes.
say that now. I'll say that now with Harvard. In IT, because I didn't have a degree, the one thing I did have were certifications. And so I made it a point to always get certified on the latest and greatest technology, to be able to have that third-party independent proof that I am as good as I say I am, that I have a base level of competency. So when I was transferring over into leadership development, and especially when it was very hard at first for HR people to take me serious, because they wouldn't
that
hire
had
me,
to be
they wouldn't give me
tough.
opportunity,
Right.
because they say your resume screams IT. So I'm
Right.
showing job history, but I
Right.
don't show you anything in HR.
Right.
So I
Right.
began to apply that same mentality. I need to do what I did in IT. So I looked for what are the best places for me to get that independent third-party vetting that say I am as good as I say I am in leadership development. So I looked at several programs, including coaching. But one evening, I was working with a woman who's now become my wife, and we were engaged, and I was sharing with her my view that every year I take a portion of my salary and I invest that toward an educational development experience. And I was suggesting that she start to do the same. So she, at the time, was in governmental affairs, and so I said, "Hey, why don't you look at this program look at the Harvard Kennedy School and see if there's a program that you feel will develop you better." So she did. She applied. She was accepted. Her very first night there, she said, "Eddie, you were right. This is amazing. I think you should come here and study." And I said, "No. That's the School of Government. That's for you, your kind, your people."
Right. Your people, not my people. Right.
I said, "No, for me, it's across the pond. It's over at the
Yeah.
business school."
Yeah.
And I had already looked at the business school, and those programs were far more costly and out of reach for me.
Right.
And she said, "Well, no. There's a leadership program here. You should look at the leadership program." And I said, "Really?" And so I read it, and I see that it's a leadership program. It's at Harvard. I didn't know anything else. And it was starting in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I am on a contract. I'm in an independent contract, which means obviously if I take time off, I'm not being paid for that. And of course, I got to pay for the program. They
Right.
accept me. I get myself there. And it was the most transformational thing that has ever happened to me. It had, I now arrive in the class and realize that everybody else has come from around the world because of one man, Dr.
Yeah.
Ronald Heifetz. Everyone knew him.
Oh,
They had read his work. They were a fan of
yeah.
him. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And that program changed me. And I later on went on to complete 4 different programs. And if you do 3 specific ones on the track, they didn't have that when I did that program. But later on, they added an executive certificate program. So I hold an executive certificate in public leadership from the Harvard Kennedy School.
Wow. That's great. What was your biggest takeaway from there?
I have to pause and think about that because I took away so much, Linda, and I literally cite something I learned from the Harvard Kennedy School every day with clients. So the concept that Dr. Heifetz codified is adaptive leadership. So if I had to say the biggest takeaway, I guess in the umbrella, I'd say adaptive leadership. Okay. The program was called The Art and Science of Leadership Development. And truly the beauty of what it means to be art and science, that it is both. And it's this dance that you do between the two. Now at GE, one of the most amazing programs I studied at Crotonville was the influencing skills for new leaders.
Right.
Like 2000, right? That was the first time I learned about the power of influence.
Right.
Well, in this program, I then learned how Dr. Heifetz is one of the pioneers of this study of how influence relates to leadership. So, yes, at a high level, I say adaptive leadership. What falls under that umbrella
It's huge.
It's where
It's absolutely huge. And so since then, you've gone on to start your own consulting practice, and you now have 2 kids. You married the woman that suggested you go to Harvard. So life is good. Life is good.
Life is absolutely good.
So what's next for you, Eddie? What's next? What have you got your sights on going forward?
Right now, that's ever evolving. Trying to be the best dad I can be. That is a daily endeavor for me, literally, because I'm an old guy who never thought he'd be a dad. And now, of course, post-pandemic, I'm a pandemic parent, my wife and I. It changes everything. It literally changes everything. So a lot of time spent on what it means to, when I'm talking about developing emerging leaders, my biggest project is at home with my emerging leaders. And one of the teachers said to me at pickup, she says, your son is such a leader. And so then she started to tell me why she's making this statement. And she's just like amazed. Now, she doesn't really know what I do for a living. But I told her, I said, Miss Tracy, you have no idea what that means to me. That is like the best compliment you could ever tell me about my son.
Yeah.
Now, they've said it about my daughter ways, but it had never been in that specific language that she used. So this was just like a month ago. So it's still really, really fresh and has me beaming. So you talk about a proud dad moment. That's it.
Yeah.
So making the 2 greatest emerging leaders in the earth here at home is my biggest project. That's what's next for me.
Oh, that's so exciting. And I know whenever I talk to you, which is frequently, you've always got something going on with your children. They're lucky. They're lucky to have a dad like you.
Thank you, Linda.
So give me another, so Marshall, let's talk a little bit about, for anybody on the show who doesn't know Marshall Goldsmith, look him up. He's the number one coach in the world, I think. And, I mean, he's great. And he's been a guru and a mentor to both you and me and a bunch of other people. And so how'd that connection all come to pass?
Yeah, it's interesting. My first exposure to Marshall Goldsmith, who we love and adore, was in the program at Northwestern. So again, being exposed to ideas and concepts that I'd never know about. My professor challenged me to read his book that had just come out, What Got You Here Won't Get You There.
Right.
Read it, loved it. Coincidentally, 4 years later, I was standing in line at an event, and I saw him. His daughter had
Mm,
just been accepted a professorship at Northwestern. So
mhm.
apparently he and his wife were there, and I didn't want to interrupt. But I just was like, he's standing right in front of me. So I
I
just
gotta say
introduced myself to
something.
him. Had to
Yeah,
say something. I
right.
said, excuse me, Mr. Goldsmith. I know you're just with your family. I don't want to interrupt. Just want to say hello. So I did. And then never in a million years would I imagine that, that was like 2011. So fast forward to 2019, that I am invited to join his prestigious organization because Sally Hevelson, our dear friend,
Oh, Sally, yes.
she suggested that I be a part of it and made the recommendation. And I just, you talk, there's not many times I guess maybe just feeling just truly humbled and truly like, are you sure you got the right guy?
Yeah, right, right. Are you
Right.
sure here? Right.
So that was my exposure to Marshall. And of course, what makes Marshall so beautiful is not just his body of work and his wisdom that he has put out into the world, but here's someone who can do anything he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he has made it his mission to take people like yourself and me and put us in this community and teach us everything he knows
Yeah.
freely. And someone made a comment one day. They said, "Man, how much are you paying to be in that?" I said, "You know what? I belong to a lot of membership. I have a lot of memberships. This is one I would absolutely pay for, but he doesn't charge us anything."
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
And so, we are tasked with doing as he has done, what he's teaching us and giving us, that we have our give backs, right? Where we
Mm,
reciprocate and we give to others. And so you and I are both pouring ourselves out to other people, other organizations, doing our part to make the world a better place in harmony with his mission and his life's work.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, I will have to tell you, I've known Marshall 30 some years,
Mhm.
and he really helped put my career on the map because I'm the one that brought coaching into GE. And we never did that
Oh,
before. And I brought, it was way before you. It was like 1995 or something like that. And brought Marshall in, and he
okay.
was a hit.
I
So
bet he was.
needless to say, yours truly became a hit too, for that period of time anyway. So it was really very good. So Eddie, what three things do you want people to know about you, and why should somebody reach out to you for support and help in coaching?
People come to me for help in coaching, and the organizations that I've partnered with who put me on their coaching bench to support their corporations, when they want a coach who is not going to try to make them a carbon copy of someone else, when they
Like
want a
that.
coach that has a breadth of experience, not just with a certain tier of leaders. They say,
Hmm.
"Well, what industry do you coach in?" I had to do an evaluation the other day. I
Yeah.
literally have coached in every, not every, but in this particular organization, their list, I coached in every sector.
Mm,
So I am not sector specific.
hmm.
I have coached at different tiers. I love coaching at universities. I love
Mm.
investing in the future leaders who are just learning leadership before they've got those bad habits later on, right?
Right,
So
right.
emerging leaders in the truest sense, and also those senior leaders. I love working with senior leaders and helping them have aha moments. From clients in biotech, and one senior leader was leading a $6 billion portfolio, right? And just seeing the challenges they face,
Yeah.
and then to see the scales fall off. Brilliant, successful people. And as we often say, you don't really need me to teach you anything, right? You know how to be great, but
Mm.
you need that person who's going to believe in you and just stand there and be that guide on the side and help you see into those corners that perhaps you haven't looked at in a while.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to develop as a leader, anyone who, like any athlete on the field, recognizes they still need a coach, even though they are great, they need that
Hmm.
person that's going to help them develop in private, bring the university to them, if you will.
Hmm.
That's who I work with. Those who want to
Wow.
accelerate their performance and drive impact.
Wow. So, one additional thought you made me was, what do you see as the biggest leadership blind spots that you come across for really successful people?
It still surprises me how many leaders at all levels suffer from what's been termed the imposter experience.
Mm, right.
Some really don't see fully their greatness, see fully their value, even though they've accomplished a lot and sit at very high levels in an organization. Aside from that, I would probably say that sometimes not understanding that even though you have achieved at a high level, you need to continue to grow, continue to invest in yourself and leadership development. Leadership development is not a one and done. It is a
Yeah.
continuous exercise that leaders must engage in, just as we need to do with our physical bodies.
Yeah, I mean it's never, you're so right. Leadership learning, that's a lifelong event. And I always say to myself, it's really about understanding yourself and
Mhm.
being able to pull back the covers and face into the things that the collective you may need to change, and be willing to listen to it and to change and adapt to the different times. It's
Yes.
the different times, absolutely
Mhm.
different times. So, Eddie, one final thought that you want to give to people.
Well, in the words of the show that I run, it's this concept that you're always leading or should be leading. You should never stop. It's continuous. So I always say, keep leading.
Keep leading. And how do people get a hold of you, Eddie? Because
AskEddieTurner.com.
you're a coach par excellence. Say that again. I talked over you.
No worries. AskEddieTurner.com.
AskEddieTurner.com. Well, thank you so much, Eddie. I really appreciate you being on the show. I love you. You know that. I mean, we've had some great professional experiences together, and I look forward to seeing you at the next event.
I look forward to seeing you too. Much love. Thank you for having me,
Much
Linda.
love. Bye-bye, Eddie. We'll see you. Thanks. Listen every week at Talk for Radio. Thank you for joining my show, and we'll see you next week. Bye.